for over a decade that we have been reminding ourselves of an important truth. For over a decade, we've taken this season to remind ourselves that it's not just about us. It's not just about us. It's about actually being in our community, making a difference in our community, and us being the literal hands and feet of Jesus to those around us to make a difference in our communities. There's this really cool verse in the Bible that tells us what we should look like because of how much we are impacting our community. 1 Timothy 6:18 says, tell them to use their money to do good, that they should, get this, be rich. Man, they should be rich in good works and generous to those in need, always being ready to share with others. Man, I love that idea. We're to be rich, but we're to be rich in good deeds and works. Man, I want us to be so rich in good deeds and kindness that we make the love of Jesus so easy to see around us. And this year, as we're coming out of our Run with the Horses series, which I thought that series was amazing, and I thought Jason did an incredible job last week wrapping up that series. If you missed it, go back and see it. But as we're coming out of that series where we've been reminded that we're made for more, that we were made to run with the horses, we're wanting to ask, how do we hit the gas pedal on life? How do we live life wide open? How do we live a life that is so rich in good deeds and kindness that it makes the love of Jesus easy to see? How do we live wide open? Man, how do we live full bore, pedal to the metal, a full send type of life? Now, earlier I had someone say, are you saying full send, S-I-N-N-E-D? And I'm like, no, this is church. I'm not encouraging you to go sin. It's a full send, S-E-N-D, a full send type of life. My southern accent got me in trouble there. Man, we want to be a church who lives wide open, who lives with our hands and our eyes open to the needs around us, meeting the needs of the people around us. But I've also got to be honest, when I heard that we're calling this series Wide Open, I don't know about you, but I had some serious concert flashbacks. Like, did anyone else have any concert flashbacks? Like, last year I had a buddy, he just said, hey, you want to go to a concert? And I was like, yeah, I want to hang out with you. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And he said, let's go see Creed. And I'm like, arms wide open, Creed? And if you don't know who Creed is, this is Creed. And this is what they're known for, arms wide open. And I thought I'd be the only person there. A ton of you were there. I saw you, and I saw you on Facebook posting all your pictures, and it was an amazing concert being there. And as fun as that awesome concert was, just so you guys know, I did do some digging, and as amazing as it is to see Creed, you're gonna have to go to Allentown to see him. He's probably not gonna be a part of this series, Wide Open. But I do love this series name, and I love the emotion that this series stirs in me, the emotion of throwing my arms wide open, my life wide open, and saying, God, here am I. Use me. Do something amazing in me and through me and with me, just as some of the men in scriptures have declared. I love in Isaiah 6, where Isaiah goes to God and he says, here I am, send me. Here I am, God, send me. Man, I love that posture of living wide open to the life that Jesus is inviting us into. And so when I think about that moment, that emotion of what it feels like to live wide open, it actually takes me back emotionally to a very specific moment in my life, a moment that I have never physically felt so wide open. For me, that moment was my junior year in high school. Now, I gotta confess, I've never been a great athlete. I've never been a star athlete. I've never been a good athlete, but I can outwork a lot of lazy people. And so because of that, I made a couple of teams, and you may not know what this is, but there was a time and day that this, high schoolers, this was the most important accessory you could have in your closet when I was in high school. Your letter jacket mattered. Guys, I grew up in Georgia. You need a coat in Georgia about 7 days out of the year. But when I finally earned this sucker, I wore it every single day, everywhere I went. My first car didn't even have air conditioning, but I rocked this thing every day, and I'd show up sweaty and nasty, and this thing stunk, but I loved it. I also learned that the second you walk across the stage at graduation, you'll never wear it again. You won't even put your senior awards on it. You'll just put it in the closet and forget about it. Actually, this is like the first time I've ever worn it in public since graduating. And yesterday I walked into my kitchen with my boys and I'm like, hey, do I look like I'm 17? And they go, no, you look like you're 40 years old and trying. And I was like, thanks, kids. Love you too. But the season that actually put the patches on my sleeves was the best athletic season of my life. It was my junior cross country season. And here's what's hilarious. My childhood nickname was Fatty Matty. I'm built like a linebacker. I've never been skinny. I've never been fast. I've never been quick. But for some crazy reason, I was gonna run cross country. And somehow or another, I made it on the varsity team. And there was like 5 runners who were like the first 5, and they would count. And I would always be like the 6th, 7th runner on the team. High schoolers, you're welcome. I know I heard a lot of groaning in the room on that one. But as the 6th, 7th runner, I played one very, very, very important role. As the 6th or 7th man, I was tasked to profoundly and ruthlessly shame any team member I was fast enough to catch. So we'd get to these races, and Ryan and Patrick and Philip, they would all line up. They were the fast kids, and they would be out in front of me in the race. But as they started to get gassed, it was my job to find them, and I didn't care about anyone else I was racing with. If I saw my team's jersey, it was my job to surge, to run as hard as I could, even if it meant me busting, get right on their heels, and I would get up and be like, "You're about to get passed by the fat kid. Fatty Matty's running you down." You know, it's amazing how they found another surge at that moment. It's incredible. They would be like slowing down. I'd get up, Fatty Matty's getting you, and they'd be like, pew. It was my superpower. It brought me great joy. I love pushing them. I believe that my junior year, I taunted those crazy fast 5 guys to qualify us for state. I think we're there because I made fun of them. What was amazing though, was I was so thankful those guys got us there because it was a blast. I never would have made it to state on my own. I'm not that good. But the state meet was one of the best memories of high school. The state meet was actually ran on the most brutal course I've ever ran on. It was this dome that you would run on. And because it was on a dome, you never had like a long section to find your stride. So it was never a long flat or uphill climb or a downhill climb. It was constantly up, down, up, down, up, down, 15 feet up, 10 feet down, 15 feet up, 10 feet down. It was the most difficult course I ever ran, but it was the perfect state cross-country course. Because what I loved most about this course was how they designed the finish. See, the final quarter mile, you'd get on the top of the hill, and they had this long, straight shot all the way down the hill. It was just this one long bomb, full send to the bottom. And at the bottom, the entire state was down there cheering their brains out, and it was amazing. And our coach always told us there's only 2 ways to get faster. Either turn your feet over faster or move your feet farther each stride. And so he'd always be like, either turn them faster or move them farther. That's the only way you're gonna get faster. But at this race, he pulls the 7 of us in and he goes, "Guys, today there's a 3rd way." He said, "Guys, when you get to the top of that hill, here's what I want you to do. I want you to fully lean forward. I want you to fall forward and pray your legs catch up." He said, "Get to the top of the hill and trust your legs, lean as far as you can and see what happens." And so that's exactly what I did. I was in my normal spot in the races. I was always like 2/3 back from the front. And our top 5, they were safely in front of me. They had already finished. And I topped the hill. And I knew this would be my only state meet. And I was like, I'm going all in. I went wide open. I leaned forward. My chest went forward. I was leaning. And guys, coach was not lying. I flew. It's the fastest quarter mile of my life. Gravity did not let me down. And it was all I could do as I'm leaning to keep my feet underneath me. It actually went kind of bad because it went from this like fun run down the hill to like sheer terror when I realized I'm about to face plant in front of the finish line in front of the entire state because you're leaning so far forward. I couldn't get my legs caught up. So I started frailing my arms coming down the hill, trying to like swim my legs back underneath my chest, underneath my face to catch up. It was absolutely terrifying and exhilarating and amazing and so much fun. It was the most wide open, full send moment of my life, which I am also very proud to say I did not face plant. That was a great moment. I also did not win. Our team did not win. We didn't even really place anywhere, but it was a ton of fun and it was a great memory at being at the state meet to even begin with. That run, that finish line, that was the most full send, fully alive, fully committed, wide open moment I think I've ever had. And it's one thing to experience that in a race. But man, I want to experience that in my faith. I want to experience that in my heart. I want to experience that as a community, this wide open, fully committed, full send type of faith. I want us as a church to have that type of freedom, joy, abandonment to the way of Jesus, of saying, Jesus, we're all in, we're leaning in, and we're trusting you in this terrifying race that you'll catch us because we are fully in, all open, wide open for you. And actually, Jesus wants that too. He just says it this way. He said it this way to us. He said, the thief's purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. My purpose, my hope, my desire for you is to give them a rich and satisfying life. A rich and satisfying life, a full send type of life. There's a reminder at the front of this verse that I love. The reminder is that there's a thief out there that's evil. His name's Satan, and he and all of his workers, they're out there to steal your joy, to distract and to lie to you, to trick you into a lesser than life. But God sent Jesus to bring us to life. And not just to life, but to a rich and satisfying life, a life that is wide open. I love how different Bible scholars over the years have worded this moment, this type of life. I mean, some have said it's the abundant life, life to the full, a more and better life than you could ever dream of. Guys, Jesus came to bring us to life, a wide open life. Now, as we just looked at in our last series, though, that doesn't mean an easy, carefree, problem-free life. That's not what Jesus promises. That's not what God offers. But he offers in the middle of all the mess, the heartache, the troubles, in the midst of all of that, he offers us a life that's still full, abundant, rich, satisfying, a life that is wide open. He's inviting us into that. But he's not the only one to remind us of that, to invite us into that. Paul, one of the very first pastors, he actually wrote this to one of the first churches. He said to them, therefore I, a prisoner for serving the Lord, beg you, plead with you, invite you, remind you, beg you to lead a life worthy of your calling, for you have been called by God. Man, I beg you. Lead a life worthy of this thing that you've been given, this invitation that's been extended to you to fully follow Jesus, to experience a life wide open. But how? How do we do that? How do we have a life that is wide open for Jesus? How do we go from chasing a feeling to actually living a life that is wide open? So this week, actually, the last couple of weeks, I've just been chewing on that. Like, how do we do this thing? How do we live wide open? And as I'm wrestling through all that, I actually got an incredible reminder from our Altoona location pastor, Corey Blockus. And if you don't know, Altoona is seeing some incredible growth right now. It's amazing what God is doing there and the life change that is happening there. And Corey, who is a diehard Steelers fan, don't hold it against him, he reminded me of something that the Steelers head coach had recently said that was just like a light bulb moment for me. If you don't know who Mike Tomlin is the Steelers head coach, and he's actually currently the longest tenured NFL head coach. He's been coaching for almost 19 seasons, and he's never had a losing season. He quickly responded to this. He is quickly approaching the all-time record and is almost certainly headed to a Hall of Fame, even if his career was to end today. Like, this guy has just been killing it. He's doing awesome. But recently he was asked, how does he maintain that level of success for that amount of time? And here's what he said that I loved. He said, the secret is there is no secret. I love that. The secret is there is no secret. I think we're all looking for shortcuts, a winning edge. This is a process. Although we are looking for a winning edge, shortcuts aren't one of them. Man, I love that. I love that Corey reminded me that he's reminding us, the coach is reminding us, there is no secret. There is no shortcuts. The secret is consistency over time is how greatness is built. Consistency over time is how a life wide open is built. Putting ourselves in environments where we can grow, that's what counts. That it's a process, it takes time, it's not flashy. People might think you're boring or missing something, but over time it works. I love that reminder that the secret to a wide open life, a wide open faith, a faith lived to the max, fully alive in Christ. The secret is there is no secret. We just keep doing what God already told us to do. We just keep showing up, moment after moment, choice after choice. And one day it goes from, I want that, to I'm living that, to, oh, I'm loving that. Oh, I want that. I'm living that. Oh, I love that. So what has Jesus told us to be doing? What has the church been doing for over 2,000 years? What's this secret that we do? Guys, it's straight from Acts 2, where we see the first group of Christians come together, and this is what they started doing. And this is what healthy churches, fully alive, wide open churches have been doing ever since. We're told that all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship and to sharing in meals, including the Lord's Supper and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over all of them, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. And all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. They sold their property and possessions and shared their meals with those in need. They worshiped together in the temple each day, met in homes for the Lord's Supper, and shared their meals with great joy and generosity. All the while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of the people. And each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who were being saved. You want to know what followers of Jesus have been doing since the very beginning? You know what they have always been about, what they did, their secret to living a wide open faith, all the while under intense persecution and oppression from the Romans and Jewish society that they were a part of. The first church did this, and for 2,000 years since then, communities of faith that's wide open have been doing it. For those of us who want a wide open faith, we do what they did, and that is consistently prioritizing and valuing gathering and connecting and serving and getting out and living generously. This is what the church has done for 2,000 years to unlock a wide open faith, gathering, connecting, serving, getting out, living generously. I mean, real simply, the secret that's not really a secret to a wide open faith is gather each weekend. On site, in person. Something happens whenever you call a time out on life and on the week, and you set aside time to sing and to be together and to be reminded of truths that God has already given us. Church isn't the game we play. It's the huddle that helps us win in the game of life. And then next, they connected. Connecting is all about getting out of isolation and around other folks, moving in the same direction you want to go and sharing life with them. Man, I love how Men's Alliance has a saying that isolation is terminal. That's the truth. I mean, we got to find our tribe that's going where we want to go, and that we can process what life looks like and what it means to actually follow Jesus through all the ups and the downs. We need other people. We can't do life alone. But then they served. Like, serving is all about putting others first. Something clicks when we put the needs of someone else before our own. When we give our time to make a difference. And just a pro tip of something that I've learned over 20 years of doing this, if you want to make gathering a consistent thing for you, or if you need to make better choices on a Saturday or Friday night, join a serve team. There is something about knowing that a team is depending on you, waiting on you to keep you accountable to showing up, but also to not acting out. I mean, I'm just saying, it's hard to look at your teammates in the eye when you know you were acting a fool the night before. But serving not only connects us to the church, it also unlocks something in our hearts. See, those three, gather, connect, serve, those are like the classic foundational do those now behaviors. But there's actually two more that's mentioned, and those two are the cornerstones to our fall seasons. These are the anchors that we've been reminding ourselves for over a decade every fall about. And man, it is so important to gather together and to circle up with friends and to serve here at church, but we have to remind ourselves to get out of the church, to get out into our communities and to see the needs, the real life happening all around us and to respond. We have to live with our eyes open wide and to learn how to live generously, realizing that we have been given so much. And when we choose a posture of generosity, our eyes open, hands open, our lives can make an amazing impact. You guys remember the verse that Jesus mentioned earlier? A thief's purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. My purpose is to give them a rich and satisfying life. Jesus is saying, come experience a wide open life. And as he's inviting us to trust him by gathering, connecting, serving, getting out, and living generously, Satan, the thief, he's coming to steal, kill, and destroy. And one of his greatest tactics is the little white lies that he loves to whisper. So here's Jesus saying, man, come on, experience life to the full, wide open, full of generosity and caring and having our eyes and hands open to seeing the needs and opportunities right in front of us. And as he's inviting us to take that incredible step of faith, Satan just comes along and he starts to whisper lies like, do they really deserve that? How do you know they're gonna use that and they're not just using you? You really can't give your time. You don't have any free time yourself. Who do you think you are? Lies like, you can't spare that money. Hey, don't forget about inflation, the cost of milk. Christmas is coming right around the corner. Do you really think it's wise to be generous right now? Or if you could hear the lies that I hear, the lie that I hear all the time is just, Matt, you don't have enough. You don't have enough energy. You don't have enough time. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough margin. Matt, you better just hold on to what you've got. Be a good steward and think of the future. And when that lie comes in, before you know it, my life goes from my hands being wide open for God to use them to starting to close and to circle and to pull in close my time, my money, my energy, my margin until I'm all locked up. Guys, Jesus standing right in front of us saying, man, I want you to have life. I want you to have it wide open. I want you to feel the joy of feeling your faith exploding and the rush of being fully alive to what God is doing around you and through you and in you. Don't fall for the lies and miss out on the life, the faith that is wide open. You know, right now, it feels like everybody's talking about Chat GPT, AI. I mean, like, they're just booming right now. So everybody's talking about them. So out of curiosity this week, I was like, what would the supercomputers say are reasons we struggle to live wide open when it comes to being generous with our time and our money? And so I just asked the robots, and I said, hey, why do people not want to live wide open? And here's what they said. They said, we don't want to live generously because of fear of scarcity. If I give, will I still have what I need? Or past pain or betrayal. I'm not going to be that vulnerable again. Or pride or self-focused. I earned this, it's mine. Or comparison and insecurity. I don't have enough. But here's where it started to get real crazy. Like they're watching, always watching. They said, lack of vision. Generosity flows from seeing a bigger picture. And this is what they continue to say in that section. It flows from understanding the heart of God. And I'm like, I didn't mention God. How did you connect those dots? And then it continued and it said, distrust. Cynicism replaces faith. And the hands close instead of opens. And that was creepy to read because I didn't tell it the series title. And I'm sitting there going, is there a theme around this open and close that even the robots know? But what I loved was the last one. The last one it gave was unawareness. And this is why we do this every fall. Sometimes it's not defiance. It's simply disconnection, or I would add busyness or distractions. They don't see the need, or no one's invited them into a generous story. Man, I love that line. No one's invited them into a generous story. So guys, today we want to make you aware. We want to remind us all of the generous story that we've been invited into. But before we leave what the robots are thinking, I just said, hey, robots, remind me of truths from the Bible that combat these lies. How would I combat these lies with what the Bible says? And this is what they gave me. They gave me Philippians 4:19. And this same God who takes care of me will supply all your needs from his glorious riches, which have been given to us in Christ Jesus. They remind me of Galatians 6. I said, let us not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Therefore, whenever we have the opportunity, we should do good to everyone, especially those in the family of faith. They reminded me of Acts 20, and I have been a constant example of how you can help those in need by working hard. You should remember the words of the Lord Jesus. It is more blessed to give than to receive. And they reminded me of Matthew 6, wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will also be. So, from those truth reminders, let's be reminded of the generous story we are invited into. Let's become aware together of what's happening right around us, and then let's learn how to respond. Knowing that God has and will supply all of our needs, how might he be inviting us to partner with his work right here, right now in the state of Pennsylvania? Man, if you've been watching the news at all, you're hearing about the 2 million people right now who are struggling with food scarcity and having enough to feed themselves. And so I just want to make that 2 million number start to feel real. So here's what I want to ask you to do. I want you to notice 5 other people around you. All right, I just want you to look around. Do you have your 5 people around you? So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including you. You got your 5? Statistically, one of you are struggling to feed your family right now. 1 in 6 Pennsylvanians are currently caught in the crosshairs of this shutdown and are struggling. 1 in 6. Let me put it a different way. LCBC will see right around 30,000 people every weekend. That means 5,000 people at LCBC, 5,000 of us are struggling. If you're one of those 5,000, I just want you to know we see you. We love you. We're here for you. And this series is to help raise funds and resources to help care for you. Man, to kind of paint a picture of what's happened around our state, for our campuses near Philadelphia County alone, they have 473,000, depending on the snap, that are going hungry. That's filling up the Lincoln Financial Field 4 times with hungry people. For our campuses in the Southeast PA region, so like Lancaster, Berks, York, Cumberland County, Dauphin, we've got about 175,000 people going hungry. That's filling up the Hershey's Giant Center 16 times. For our northeastern campuses, you've got more than 70,000 of your neighbors going hungry. That's filling up the Mohegan Sun Arena every night for a week. What an amazing opportunity we have right in front of us to just open our eyes, to open our hands, and to respond in incredible ways. And here's what's mind-blowing about how God sees the big picture. We planned this series months ago, but what we weren't planning on was the government shutting down and funding that aids some of the most vulnerable in our communities being cut off. And guys, this has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with helping our neighbors. Has everything to do with helping hurting kids and hurting neighbors right here, right now in our communities. Guys, God didn't call the White House to show up and love our communities. He called this house. He called your house. He called this church to show up and to make his love easy to see, to be rich with good deeds and kindness, to show up and to show how loving and kind and generous and gracious God is. And so here's what I want. In a minute, I want every one of you to pull out your phones, and I'm going to shamelessly ask you to choose to be generous, to wildly give, to make the love of Jesus easy to see, to live wide open, to lean in, to trust that God will catch you, and to choose to give to making a difference in our communities. And here's what's wild about each of your campuses. Over the last year, each of your campuses have been working to build incredible partnerships with amazing nonprofits right on the front lines in each of our communities. Partners who know how to wisely and strategically show up and make a difference. They just need us to now show up behind them and say, we got your 6, we're here for you, we're helping you, let's go love our communities as well as we can. So today, we're inviting everyone to give. And when you give, 100% of what you give will go directly to them. LCBC will cover all the cost and the fees and all that stuff. So that's just really a slick way of saying, if you give $55 or $55, we're giving $55 for them. There's none that we're not keeping a penny of any of it. Everything you give will go directly to them. And here's what your wide open generosity is going to be going to. Harrisburg's campus has built a long-term partnership with the Midwest Food Bank, and they serve the entire state, supplying food banks with essential supplies. So for those at Harrisburg and online, when you give, you'll be locking arms to provide funding and food staples for the entire state. Lebanon, Lancaster City, Manheim, East York, Altoona, your campuses, you each have incredible partnerships with local nonprofits who put food in backpacks and put that backpack on a kid's back at the end of the day. You will be putting food in hungry kids' backpacks to have dinner that night. Center Valley, Pottstown, you guys are locking arms and joining Fostering Hope, and you're packing dinners and overnight bags for children who are in emergency situations. Harleysville, you're gonna buy a refrigerated vehicle to help expand the distribution of fresh food in your region. Sinking Springs, you're providing freezer blankets and thermostats to keep keep food safer longer for distribution. Dixon City, you're providing for supplies for apartments where youth who are coming out of foster care can find a sense of home. And there's so much more. I mean, we didn't talk about Hanover or West Shore or Willow Street or Columbia Montour or Clark Summit or any of the other campuses and all the hundreds of ways your generosity will be making a difference in our community. Guys, this money, this choice to trust God, to lean in, to live wide open, it makes a real difference to real people right here in your neighborhoods. And so, just so you know, this is working. This is working. We've been doing this for over a decade now, and it's working, and it's making a difference. Over the past couple of years, Leesport has been supporting CPP of Berks County. And this week, their campus pastor, Justin, received an email from their director. And this director wasn't asking for more money, but they were simply saying, a year ago, you showed up, and I just wanted to say thanks. And so they wrote to Justin and they said, I just wanted to reach out and let you know how appreciated your funds have been. As you know, the federal impasse has impacted many families who have not received their SNAP benefits they anticipated on November 1st. We have been able to be proactive because of you. They were proactive, ready, and waiting. And they have been able to have bags of non-perishable food ready for families in need. The majority of the families we serve are working. Many have 2 wage earners in their home. We thank you again for funding that gives us the flexibility to really make a difference and to serve those in need. Guys, it's working. And God is using you to make a difference. So let's live wide open and see what he does. Let's stop waiting for someone else to make a difference in our communities and realize that God has placed us here and he invites us to experience life to the full, not by gathering just here on the weekends, but by rolling up our sleeves and making a difference in our communities. Let's live a wide open faith and extend our hands to God and say, here am I, use me. Use me to make a difference. Guys, I long for us to pour out so much generosity in this season that the community stands back in awe. And I am asking you, every person sitting in our rooms, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to those of you who are sitting on your couch watching with your family and friends. I'm asking you if you're a high schooler or a young adult, a single parent, an empty nester, young and married, old and married. I'm asking everyone to just trust God, to lean in and to say, here am I, use me, jump in and do something. Take a step of faith. Open your hands and see what God might use and how he might open your heart, how he might change you. You know, for years, we've invited folks just to get on the bus by $39.95 is a cute little thing we started saying years ago. But I know that for some of us, $39.95 is a massive leap of faith. If it is, man, I pray that as you step, you see God show up in incredible ways. But for some of us, God's blessed you to where you need to add some digits in front of that. God's blessed some of us with some big pockets, and he's now asking us to bless our neighbors in some big ways. Guys, I'll never forget a couple of years ago, I was walking through the church parking lot, and this builder waves me over to his truck. And I mean, this dude is like a man's man, and his truck is like a man's truck. It's got big old tires. It's got mud on it. He just is dripping masculinity. And so I would walk over, and I'm like, hi, you know. And I get there, and he just goes, Matt, I can't do what you do. I can barely stand to talk to one person, much less 2. But I can work real hard. And I want to see my sweat make a difference. And he handed me a $30,000 check. And he said, Matt, I want my sweat to make a difference. Go do something with this. And boy, did his sweat make a difference. If God has blessed you with the ability to make money, use that ability to bless others. So no matter where you are, no matter the amount you can give, just choose to trust God, to say wide open, here am I. God, what could you do? So here's what I want to invite everyone to do. I want to invite everyone to pull out their phones, and I want to invite you to go ahead and just drop a text to 20022. I want you to text wide open to 20022. Go ahead, grab your phones. Man, let's all do it together. And if you would rather have a more personal touch, be able to talk with someone, and if you're in our rooms out in our atrium, there are people who can assist you. We got white balloons if you want to use a credit card. We got green balloons if you want to do cash. But all I know is I want you to feel what it's like to lean in and to experience a wide open faith. To experience God saying, I got you, I got you. Like, I know this could possibly feel like the worst time ever to give. You know, the economy's always bad. Gas is always going up. Inflation's always a thing. Christmas is always right around the corner. But why not trust and just say, God, here am I, use me. Here am I, use me. What would it look like? What would it look like to our communities if there was such an outpouring of generosity that it shocked them? Man, I want to be a part of a church that shocks their community. I want to be able to look at anyone who says the churches are full of a bunch of hypocrites who only care about themselves. I want to be able to look at them and say, no, you don't know our church. You don't know my friends. You don't know our people. Man, our people, they lean in. They go arms wide. They say, Jesus, here am I, use me. Our people live wide open for Jesus. Let's pray. Jesus, thank you for what you have done. Thank you for what you are doing. And Jesus, we are excited to see what you do in the days and weeks ahead. Jesus, I pray that our church, LCBC, will be known as a church that is generous, wide open, saying, here am I, use us, that our neighborhoods, our communities, our towns are better because of what you do through each of our campuses. God, I pray that today that you help each of us know where you want us to respond, whether it is taking the most terrifying leap of faith to give for the first time ever, even in the middle of our own personal fears and insecurities, or whether you have blessed us profoundly and you need us to add zeros behind the numbers. Jesus, I pray you will make it clear where you would have us as we lean in to trust you. And I pray that there is such an outpouring of generosity, our communities are taken back. I pray that lives are changed. I pray that kids are fed. And I pray that you are honored and that you are talked about. Jesus, we pray that through all of this, we'll see more and more and more lives be changed by you. Jesus, thank you for the invitation to live wide open, to trust you, and to free fall into your arms. Jesus, we love you, we thank you, and we trust you. It's in your name we pray. Amen.